Oh my goodness, I got an activist in front of me and I'm just so happy. But the one thing I have to say is it's so funny because I get confused in the public for you all the time. People are always running up to me going, Tamika, are you gonna come to my town? And it's just so funny. So does anybody ever come up to you and scream, hey family?
It happens all the time.
They do.
And especially in the airport, people get upset because they run up to me like, shit, oh man.
This because you got that face like, we going to march, we gonna stir some stuff up. Oh my gosh. But I'm gonna tell you, I literally, I remember when we first got together and we were at something that Bevy Smith had thrown for, it was
Dinner
for like
with Bev.
Dinner with Bevy. And we sat there and we had so much fun because I said we're finally next to each other and people can finally see we're two different people. Two different people.
But twins at heart. Twins at heart.
But let me tell you something. I don't mind being confused for you when I see pictures of you posting in your bikini. When you post it up, confuse me. First of all, I was like, look at the activist over here.
Well,
you tell me.
did.
Okay.
And did.
That's but right. Look, how do I activate my body to look like this?
Harlem Pilates. I told you this before. Harlem Pilates is where I go. Shout out to my sister and sorority sister, Tiffany, who owns a beautiful studio. She has 3 studios in Harlem.
And you do that?
A black woman.
Okay, I love this.
That's right.
I gotta do. It's my pelvic floor. I gotta pick my pelvic floor up to get over the Pilates, girl.
The reformer is up off of the ground.
Okay.
So you can do it. Anyone can do it, so you definitely can do it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna go with you. Anything called a reformer scares me, but I'm gonna do it. I just wanna give you flowers because I'm so in awe of you because you have such a powerful voice, Tamika. You've organized extremely large movements. You've influenced people. Your speeches are so powerful. We know your heart when you go out there. Did you expect that you would make this kind of impact?
I mean, you know, sometimes it hits and sometimes it doesn't. So that's just life. I don't know if I knew I would make an impact, but I know that the work that I'm doing, I'm actually called to do. Because trust me, I've tried to run.
You tried to run from that calling, huh?
Sure. You know, when you're dealing with different types of people, especially our people, you know, sometimes I'm like, you know what, y'all got it. You do it better than me. So go ahead and work it out. But I find myself back in the mix just the next day as if nothing happened. So you know,
because if it's one thing we can count on is something happens, you are boots on the ground. You are one of the first people there. And that's one of the things that I've admired about you is because you're right there, because you care. You know when Tamika's marching and you are pulling people in with you, that you care and you want to get stuff done. So thank you, sis, for what you do.
Thank you.
But it was, you know, in reading your book, I Live to Tell the Story. I know that I've admired you for years, but reading the book, I didn't know all of this about you. And at 44 years old, I said, I don't know 44 where. You look amazing.
44 for sure. I have it in my knees, my back, elbows, all of it. Trust me.
Like you don't look like what you have been through.
No,
and
thank God.
Thank God. But what made you decide to write? You know, because you wrote State of Emergency, which was an amazing, your first book. But this one, you really no holds barred. What made you decide to write a memoir for your second book?
Well, you know what? I have to give a lot of credit to Charlemagne the God, who is the publisher for my book, Black Privilege Publishing.
We love Charlemagne.
Yes. I was the first book on his imprint. And I think as the team, the entire team at Simon & Schuster, they were looking at, the first story had a little bit of my biographical, you know, content in it. And I think as they looked at it, they were like, there's more of a story here, more that they wanted to know. And in fact, I was writing the book while living in Kentucky in the middle of protest and surveillance and being arrested and all of that. And they were like, oh no, this stuff is too powerful. We want to see you talk more about it. But I thought you had to wait until you were about 75 years old or so. Because the way I see a memoir is that you will actually be able to call the names of the people who hurt your feelings, right? So I wanted to wait, you know, until I get a little older so that the people are either gone already or at least almost about to go, you know? But they said, no, it's time. And a young woman, Audrey, helped me to write an outline. There was hundreds of pages of content.
You had a lot to say.
Yeah, and when I looked at it, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I can't believe I lived to tell the story. And that was the name of the book right there in that moment.
It's so, you know, you dealt with, no, you didn't need to wait till you were 70. You had to talk about this now because it inspired me. Sometimes we don't know what's going on behind the smile or what makes a person, you know, who they are. You dealt with sexual assault. You dealt with unexpected teen pregnancy. You've dealt with major depression. You even talk about in your book, you had a pill addiction that led you to rehab. And I'm going, as I'm reading this book, I go, Tamika Mallory, the one I know, the activist who gets in there, who's strong. How did you deal with all of this? And then you're also the face of global activism.
Yeah, you know what? It's been tough, and that's the reason why I thought the book was important. Because I think oftentimes when people see us in front of cameras and we got the makeup and the clothes and the whole thing, and you look together, they don't know that on the other side of those clothes, I was 98 pounds, extremely stressed. I couldn't sleep, which is still a struggle that I deal with today. But I have a therapist, Michael Prats, who helps me to ensure that I have the balance necessary to rest and to, you know, keep myself together. But I wasn't doing a good job of that. And it was really tough. And I thought this book would help somebody else who's on their journey. Who says, you know what, because there's a lot of people out here that have addictions to different things, whether it be pills, alcohol, shopping, sex, whatever.
Okay, stop talking to me.
Okay.
Enough.
And you know, and oftentimes we're using those addictions to numb pain that is unaddressed. And particularly childhood traumas, when you talk about sexual assault, and all of that happened when I was much younger.
Right.
But I had it locked in the shed, in the back of the house, and down in the basement. And this book forced me to open up some wounds and talk about some things that I hope the next person will take it and use it for
and be able to use it.
Yes, sir.
And I love because, you know, you have so many celebrities behind you, you know, who are in your corner. But I love when you talk about your son, Tariq.
Yes.
You know, being a mother, that's a big a job, and doing what you do, and you actually saving the world. And you're a grandmother, and you got your son.
Look at Sherri.
You know, look at the grandbaby. Like, how do you find balance in that? Because I know I carry a lot of mom guilt with Jeffrey, because I had to work and pay the bills. You lost your Tariq's father when you were young, so you became a single mom, but you're still out doing what you have to do. How have you let go of if you ever had any guilt?
Yeah, well, I processed it, but I would like to say to my son, he really has been a champ. And he and I, we at times, because, you know, sometimes those emotions come up where he's like, Mom, you know, you weren't even here most of the time, but my parents, Mama, I made it, whichever one of these cameras.
Yeah, you can look right there.
Yeah, I made it, Mama.
That's it.
Anyway, I'm on Sherri Shepherd Show. But my mom and dad, you know, they've been co-parents with me and helping to raise him. But he's dealt with some collateral damage, because oftentimes I would be more of a family member to other families than I would be to him.
Yeah.
And you know, that's not easy. It's tough to deal with that. But nonetheless, we're good now. We're good now. We're good now.
I have to say, I'm so glad you came here. You know, and a lot of people know Tamika's strong, but she's so fun. Like, this is a woman who, and you gotta have fun to do what you do. I Live to Tell the Story, a memoir of love, legacy, and resilience. It's available right now, and everybody in the studio audience, you are getting a copy.
We're gonna